Am I the butthole for not letting my mother grieve her daughter? I am an white flag, rainbow woman and throughout my life have been described as tomboy. I feel like that is a bit of an outdated way to say it, but pretty much a woman who isn't extremely feminine. My mother always wanted a femme daughter. She is pretty into sewing, clothes, dresses, would have loved me to play with dolls, and be into things considered more feminine. I have tried a few times in my life to humor this, but it's not me. For example, my mother made me a dress for graduate. I think this was about both of us, to be fair. She wanted to have a feminine daughter for the night, but she also wanted me to look good for me. I look back on this with mixed feelings. It's true in my photos I looked nice, but I also felt extremely uncomfortable. Sometimes it's clear my mother has issues about who I am, but she's generally remorseful when she says or does something inconsiderate. I think she's just had a tough time getting over stuff she was brought up to believe. Recently she was going on about how my aunt has a lovely daughter and she doesn't know how my aunt got so lucky. She hates my aunt. To be honest, my aunt isn't very likable. My cousin is very feminine, attractive and has young children. She was going on and I said it sounds like you would rather have her as a daughter. My mother said for the grandchildren, maybe. She said it in a joking kind of way, but I think she meant it. And yeah, I probably shouldn't have asked if I couldn't handle it, but my insecurities got the better of me. I can't have children. It's not about me being white flag, rainbow. If a future partner was willing to do it, I would, or foster, but I can't have genetic children due to my health. This doesn't keep me up at night. I'm okay with it going either way, but it didn't feel good to be compared to my cousin. My dad and I are close. I told him I was upset about my mother and how she acts sometimes. He said it's hard for her, but I have to let her grieve her daughter. I was like, I am her daughter. I'm not dead. And he was like, no, the daughter she wanted, and proceeded to reiterate how my mother wanted a femme daughter and I should be more considerate of the fact she's grieving the loss of that daughter and that realistically I have to come to terms with the fact she might never fully get over this. I hung up on him and I haven't spoken to my parents for 2 weeks. I don't actually think it's realistic for me to expect my mother to change. I think he has a point. I will talk to them again, but I just need a bit of space. They want to talk to me again now. My dad said I'm being an odd to get so hung up on this. I just need to let her grieve without making her feel bad, especially in the current world situation. It's time to get over it now. We're family. And what am I trying to achieve here? I don't know what I'm trying to achieve, to be honest. Am I the butthole? Should I be more considerate of her grief? Edit. I went to sleep and when I woke up this had gotten a lot bigger than I expected. Thanks for your judgments and words. I'm still looking at new comments and catching up throughout the day. In a comment I go more into why I worded my post as I did with the white flag, rainbow. For clarity I'll just say here I'm a cis woman and direct people to read my comment if they want to understand my wording choice further. Victory hand. NTA. Tell them it's hard for you and they have to let you grieve the loving and accepting parents that you wanted. This is exactly what I was going to say. You need time to grieve too. This isn't even a butthole response in my opinion. This is perfectly acceptable and sets boundaries with her parents who, unfortunately, don't love her for who she is. They may love her because she is their daughter, but it seems they don't love the person she is. Which is effed up. If they want time to grieve, give it to them. Go no contact and quite possibly, cut them out of your life. Life is too short to love people who only love you out of obligation. I was just thinking today about how liking your children is just as important as loving them. Sometimes it's more important. Ops mom is being cruel, and then demanding that original post not to be hurt by her cruelty. Once, when I was 11 or 12, my mom told me, I love you, but I don't like you. That crap cut deep. I'm in my 30s now, and we generally have a great relationship now that I am an adult, but it cut deep. It sucks knowing the people who love you wouldn't have anything to do with you if it weren't for those little strands of DNA you share. When we were doing something she didn't approve of, Mother regularly told my sibling and I love you, but I don't like you right now. She thinks that was great parenting, because she was focusing on our behavior, not who we were, and cannot understand that it didn't feel that way at all. Blame the pop psychology of the time. It's great in theory, but most parents do it wrong. And the one thing that people forget is that kids don't pick up on the nuances. She should have said she didn't like what you were doing, not that she didn't like you at that moment. That's just cruel. This exactly. The same sentiment exists in parenting psychology now, but the advice on framing it is a lot better. Now the advice is to say I love you, but I don't like the way you're acting right now. Even then, it's a harsh thing to say, but it does have a very specific time and place. This was a very popular thing that was told to parents to say in the 1980s and 1990s. It was not good advice, but I remember watching Oprah after school one day and an episode was about this. Oh wow, I didn't realize other mothers said this too. Mine said it so often that it drilled into me that other people who profess to love me do not have to act like they love me. Guess who's in therapy right now trying to fix her habit of choosing neglectful partners? Are you me? This is exactly the same thing my mother used to tell me. Lo and behold, a lifetime of insecurity. My mom said the exact same thing to me when I was 12. We live several states apart now and she wonders why I don't visit for Christmas, pre-COVID. I have other reasons as well for not visiting, but ultimately we were just never able to make a great relationship because of things she said like this. My mom told my dad the same thing about me, but she went the extra mile with I love her because I have too. He promptly told me and me promptly, and into perpetuity, wished he hadn't. Mine told me that too. 13 years later and I still hold it against them. Holy crap. I always suspected my mom feels this way about me, but she never effing said it. I'm so sorry. Parents have to shoulder the burden of keeping certain things and thoughts from their children. She is allowed to grieve the daughter she didn't get, but she can grieve privately. Original Post is not a criminal, and is allowed to be her own person. Her mother needs to accept the daughter she does have, or she will be left to grieve the loss of her too. Not the butthole. That's awful. I would have loved my mom to take this route. Mine went with I wish you had never been born. That crap right there is why I make a point of sometimes emphasizing to my kids that I like them, and that I like being their mom. Not just saying I love you, but also sometimes telling them, hey, I like you as well. Your mother and mine would have got on very well. She said that all the time. Also, once when I was an adult and I said that a teacher in my primary school didn't like me, she said, well, of course not, you were very nice. She was genuinely surprised at how upset I got. Add into this that the original post is obviously an adult, age not listed, but old enough to have graduated. How long is she supposed to put up with the grieving of this child that doesn't exist? Mom isn't grieving, she's pouting, and she's been doing so for probably close to 2 decades. She needs to grow the hell up. I'm sorry you're dealing with this. As the person above me said, her behavior is cruel. NTA. It's actually one of the cruelest things I've read on here. This was my thought: if the mother needed to grieve the idea of a certain kind of daughter for a bit, that's not in itself terrible. What makes it terrible is A, doing this for apparently many, many years, and B, doing it in ways that make it very apparent to the actual daughter she has. Truthfully, it's always seemed like my mother didn't like me and favored my cousin who is much more alike in personality than we are. It's made me resent her quite a bit. Exactly. She doesn't need time to grieve. Original Post is a full-fledged adult. She has lived more than 2 decades. Mom has had more than 20 years to figure out that her daughter is not like her and is never going to be the girly girl mom wanted. She isn't dead. She isn't trans. The time for grieving was when she realized Original Post was not the same as her, probably when she was around 8 to 10. The time to grieve the daughter she always wanted is just an excuse for the parent to treat Original Post crafty and make her feel bad. Not the butthole. I agree. Parents shouldn't write a script in their head, let a kid be who they are, and enjoy it. I agree that liking and being interested in the kids is important. My parents don't appreciate the brilliant, funny kid I have, their grandkid, because they share no interests. I say, learn to be interested in your kid's interests, at least one. I remember when my kid got all into guns, which I hate. I had a choice: allow a wedge between us or join his interest. I joined, the interest eventually faded and our relationship was maintained. This is so true. I grew up knowing my parents loved me, but often felt like they didn't like me cause I didn't always live up to their expectations, while watching my brother be the golden child, but that's another story. It hurt me bad. Now that I'm a mom, I try to go out of my way to make sure my kids always know that I love them as well as like them for who they are. It's not always easy, especially with my 9-year-old daughter. She has severe ADHD, odd, and other issues, but when it is hard, I remind myself that she needs it even more than I ever did. I have very close relationships with my kids, even my adult son and stepson, and I'm very grateful for that. Absolutely. My parents were from the Depression/World War II generation, and people of that era weren't big on showing emotion. I knew they loved me, but liking me as an individual? I was never quite sure. Love the child you have, not the child you want. Yeah, it's not even snarky or to prove a point. It's true. Original post did not get the unconditional love and acceptance that all children deserve from their parents. Allowing herself to grieve that is actually healthy for her. I competently agree. Right. How many years has this mother has to get over her expectations? Up. We can't choose our biological linked, but we can choose how we interact with them. You're not 7, and this isn't Dance Moms. This is who you are as a human being, and she rejected that person, preferring some made-up fantasy child. She needs help, you need better support than what they give. Not the butthole edit, smiley face, thanks for the award. There is a real thing where parents of babies with health problems or birth damage have to go through a process of grieving the perfect child they imagined. But that's supposed to happen in the course of a month or so, not stretch out into perma-grieving of an adult child. Op is NTA, her mom is blaming her for not being that perfect child mom imagined, and is still not letting go of. Also, this puts not being more femme on par with major disabilities, and that's just messed up. The mom is missing out, imho. I have a now adult daughter who isn't the girly girl I once envisioned her becoming. She has no interest in doing things like shopping or going to the spa with me. Frankly, I just came to realize my own imagination was limited when she was young. She has grown up to be a far more interesting and wonderful person than I imagined. I'm lucky she didn't turn into the daughter I dreamed of, because she's just so much better than that. Edit. Thank you for the award, kind stranger. You are wonderful. What a great mindset. Frankly, I just came to realize my own imagination was limited when she was young. And so you didn't miss out on watching your daughter grow into her authentic self, which is the adventure of a lifetime, imho. No doubt both you and your daughter are worlds better for it. Parenting done right, heart. Honestly, I can understand dreaming about your perfect child if you want one. We're all human, but Ops mom dragging it out to Ops adulthood is more than unfair. Like, I want kids in the future, and if I happen to have a girly daughter, I'd be happy, but I'd also be happy if the kid is happy being themselves and talking to me about stuff, you know? Exactly. Original post needs to tell him she needs time to grieve for her parents, and if he says but we're still alive, answer not you, the parents. I wish I had see how dad would like it if it was turned around. NTA. NTA. Not the butthole just commenting to say this sounds exactly like my mom, who is grieving the death of her daughter when I started transitioning. I am a trans guy, have been out for almost 5 years, and she still has not come to terms with my death, even though I'm literally standing right here. She introduces me as her daughter, and people are like, "Cause I have a deep voice and facial hair. I look like a man and am 10 times happier for it, but she can't accept my happiness." Sending hugs. There is no excuse for deliberately dead naming and misgendering folks. I'm genderqueer, and whenever I'm part of a conversation where someone is misgendering, I am forever countering with correct pronouns. Oh, I was talking to her. Me, him, and she. Me, he, they learn after a while, smiley face. Also offering hugs. Parents, just wants to scream. I thought your situation was exactly what this one going to be about. I just want to slap Ops mom and your mom and every mom/dad in this thread like them. Does it ever occur to her that one day you could get fed up with her and walk away to never come back? I'd remind her that you have zero obligation to continue to speak to her or see her at all if she doesn't become a decent human being really quick. And remember, this is about clothes and makeup. As a fellow tomboy, my mom also loves shoes and fashion and sometimes sighs about my jeans and tees, but you know what? She doesn't ever regret I'm not a living doll. And that realistically they have to come to terms with the fact original post might never fully get over this. So much this, As a parent, I get the slight disappointment of your kids not being into what you're into, but a decent parent learns pretty quickly to accept it and meet their kids where they, the kids, are. It's pretty offensive to you as a person that she is still grieving well into adulthood, and even worse that she and your father put that on you. She needs therapy. She should consider herself lucky you've put up with as much as you have. I'm so sorry you don't have the parents you deserve. NTA. This advice is priceless. Grieve the loving and accepting parents that you deserved. Double post. Sorry. NTA. If your mother, according to your dad, can grieve she doesn't have the femme daughter she wanted, you can sure as heck grieve that you don't have the loving, accepting mother you deserve to have. This. Next time your parents give you a hard time about it, throw your dad's words back, him stating that you're grieving too, grieving the accepting, loving mother you don't have. I know. Original post has to get over being hurt, but her mom is allowed to grieve for a non-existent person forever? This. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.